Nothing works until you believe in yourself first. That's the truth most people avoid. You can set goals, read books, watch videos, but if deep down you don't believe in yourself, nothing will stick. This is the reason so many people start things and never finish. It's not that they're lazy, it's not that they're weak, it's because they don't really believe they're capable. And when you don't believe, you hold back, you talk yourself out of opportunities, you settle, you make excuses. But your life changes the moment you decide, I'm not waiting anymore, I believe in myself now. That's the first step to everything you want, and it's not a one-time decision, it's something you wake up and choose every day. This audiobook is for anyone who's tired of doubting, tired of starting over, and ready to build real confidence from the inside. You don't need permission, you just need belief, your own, starting today. Chapter 1. Choose to believe in yourself with full heart. You have to make the decision. No one can do it for you. You have to choose to believe in yourself, and not halfway, not when things are easy. I'm talking about with your full heart, when it's quiet, when it's tough, when you feel alone, when it's been weeks without progress, and even when you don't feel ready. That's when belief matters most. That's when belief shapes the kind of person you become. Belief is not something you wait to feel, it's something you decide to give to yourself. You either give it fully, or you don't give it at all. People walk through life waiting for a sign that they're good enough, waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to say, you've got what it takes. But I'll tell you the truth, if you keep waiting for someone else to hand you belief, you'll be waiting forever. You must choose to believe in yourself even before you see results. That's the challenge. That's where most people give up. They say, how can I believe when I haven't achieved anything yet? But achievement follows belief. Belief doesn't come after the success. It comes before the action. It comes before the hard work. It comes before anyone notices you. That's what separates the strong from the weak. The strong choose belief on day one. They don't need permission. They don't need applause. They don't need the world to understand. You have to be the one to say, I'm worth fighting for. You have to be the one who sees something in yourself, even when nobody else does. And you can't fake it. You can't talk belief and then live in fear. You can't post words of strength and live in weakness. Belief is a decision backed by action. It's how you wake up. It's how you carry yourself. It's what you say to yourself when the door closes, when the plan fails, when the job is lost, when the person leaves. Believing in yourself means standing tall, even when everything around you feels shaky. It means showing up to work on your goals, even when the excitement is gone. It means keeping your word to yourself. That's belief, and that's rare, because most people don't even trust themselves. They make promises and break them the same day. They say they'll start Monday, but they never do. They say they'll change, but they never follow through. Do you know why? Because they don't believe. Not fully. Not with their whole heart. Belief gives you energy. It gives you direction. It gives you a reason to keep going. But belief doesn't come by accident. It comes from deciding that your life matters, that your time matters, that your dreams matter. And once you decide that, everything begins to change. You stop waiting, you stop doubting, you stop comparing, you stop overthinking, you start doing, you start building, you start learning, you start acting like you matter, because you do. There will be people who doubt you. That's part of life. But the question is, are you one of them? Are you one of the people who puts yourself down before the world even gets a chance? Because if you are, that's where your fight starts. Your fight is not against the critics. Your fight is against the voice in your own head that says you're not good enough. That voice must be replaced, and it gets replaced by belief. Belief is not loud. It's not a show. It's not shouting over others. Belief is quiet confidence. It's knowing you'll figure it out. It's showing up even when you're tired. It's trying again, even after failure. It's doing the work even when nobody claps. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, but you do need to prove something to yourself. You need to prove that you won't give up on you. If you've been through pain, that doesn't make you weak. If you've failed before, that doesn't mean you're finished. It just means you're human. But don't let that pain turn into bitterness. Don't let the failure turn into fear. Let it build you. Let it push you. Let it shape your strength. because real belief doesn't ignore pain. It rises through it. It uses it. You don't build belief through perfect days. You build it by refusing to quit on the hard ones. You build it by getting up when it would be easier to stay down. You build it by saying, I don't care how long it takes, I'm going to keep showing up. That's how belief is built, through consistency, through grit, through small wins that nobody sees. Look at your own life. How many times have you stopped because of fear? How many dreams have you delayed because you didn't think you were good enough? That ends now. You have to draw the line. You have to say, from this day forward, I will believe in myself, not when it's easy, not when I feel good, but every day, no matter what. You won't always feel confident. That's normal. You won't always be motivated. That's normal too. But you can still choose belief. You can still do what needs to be done. You can still take the next step. Because belief is not a feeling, it's a choice. And once you make that choice, things start moving. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. When you believe in yourself, you stop making excuses. You stop blaming. You stop waiting for someone to fix your life. You take control. You take responsibility. And that gives you power. You stop living in the past. You stop needing approval. You start trusting your own voice. That's belief. You don't need anyone to rescue you. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everything to be clear. You just need to say, I'm ready now. I'm ready to take ownership of my life. It starts with that decision. A decision to back yourself. A decision to speak to yourself with respect. A decision to stop tearing yourself down. A decision to build, to improve, to rise every single day. And when you fall, and you will, you don't stay down. You don't spiral. You don't say, I knew I wasn't good enough. You get back up and say, I'm not done. That's belief. That's the mindset that changes lives. That's how success is built, one strong belief at a time. You don't need to have it all figured out, but you need to start acting like you matter. You need to start honoring your potential. You need to start living like someone who has something valuable to offer this world, because you do. But no one will believe in you until you do. So today, make the decision. No halfway, no backup plan, no waiting. Decide to believe in yourself with your full heart, and keep deciding that every single day. Because when belief becomes your habit, success is only a matter of time. Chapter 2. Stand strong when nobody supports your vision. There will be days when no one sees what you see. There will be moments when you share your dream, and all you get back is silence, blank stares, or even worse, doubt. Not everyone will understand your vision, and you have to be okay with that. You have to stand strong even when the room goes quiet. That strength must come from inside you, not from anyone's approval. If you're waiting for people to clap before you take the first step, you'll never move. If you're waiting for validation to believe that your dream matters, you'll stay stuck. You have to be willing to walk forward alone. When your vision is clear to you but blurry to others, that's not a problem, it's part of the path. You were given the idea, the goal, the mission for a reason. It lives in you, it burns in your thoughts, it shows up when you close your eyes. You can't expect others to carry a dream they never received. It wasn't put in their heart, it was put in yours. That's why your belief must be stronger than their doubt. Most people don't support what they can't understand. It's not because they hate you, it's because they haven't lived your thoughts, your experiences, your pain, or your passion. And sometimes the people closest to you will be the first to question you. That hurts the most. You expect strangers to ignore you, but when it's your own friends, your own family, the people who say they love you, it hits different. It cuts deeper. But even then, you still have to hold your ground. You still have to stand tall, because your future depends on it. You have to learn how to move in silence, without turning bitter. You have to be strong enough to keep building when no one claps, no one shares, no one cares. That's real strength. That's mental toughness. That's when character is built. Because if you only work hard when people are watching, that's not belief. That's performance. And life doesn't reward performers. It rewards builders. People who are willing to stay focused even when it feels like no one sees their effort. Every person who ever did something meaningful went through this. They were laughed at, ignored, criticized. People said it'll never work. People said you're wasting your time, but they kept going. Not because it was easy, not because they had constant support, but because they believed in what they were doing. They believed it was worth it, and that belief didn't come from outside, it came from within. When you walk through this phase, when you stand alone, it teaches you something powerful. It teaches you that you are enough. It teaches you that your progress does not depend on applause. It teaches you that your value is not based on how others react to your ideas. That's a kind of freedom that most people never experience. They're stuck needing attention to feel worthy. But not you. You're building something real, and that takes a different mindset. Sometimes you'll want to quit, not because you don't care anymore, but because carrying the whole thing by yourself gets heavy. There's no one to talk to about it. No one checks in on your goals. No one asks how you're doing with your vision. You're pushing, learning, failing, adjusting, all alone. And that's when you have to remind yourself why you started. You didn't begin this to please them. You didn't take this path because it was popular. You did it because you knew something had to change. You saw something better for yourself. And that vision is still alive inside you. In moments of silence, you grow. When it's quiet, you hear your real thoughts. You face your real doubts. You learn how to encourage yourself. Most people never develop that skill. They're too busy needing someone else to tell them they're doing well. But what happens when that person's not around? What happens when nobody says, keep going? You better learn to say it to yourself. You better learn to be your own fire, your own reason, your own source of strength. Because if you don't, you'll keep quitting every time it gets lonely. And here's something else. Sometimes support doesn't come because the people around you are too afraid. Your vision reminds them of what they're not doing. Your discipline highlights their excuses. Your hunger makes their comfort feel small. So instead of supporting you, they distance themselves. Not because you're wrong, but because your effort exposes their lack of effort. Don't take it personal. Just keep going. The world only claps once it sees results. But results don't come right away. They come after hours and hours of work no one sees. They come after decisions no one understands. They come after lonely nights, after quiet mornings, after sacrifices that nobody knows about. So don't live for the claps. Live for the mission. Live for the reason you started. Stand strong when it's just you. Stand strong when you're not sure if it's working. Stand strong when it feels like no one notices. Because they will. One day they will. But by then you won't need their support. You'll be too far ahead to care, and they'll ask how you did it. They'll ask what changed. And you'll tell them, I believed in what I was doing when no one else did. That kind of strength can't be taught in a book. It can't be faked. It has to be lived. You have to go through the doubts. You have to sit with the silence. You have to carry the dream through rejection, through failure, through long periods where nothing works, and still show up. That's the person who wins, not the loudest, not the one with the biggest following, the one who refused to fold when nobody believed. You don't need a crowd. You don't need cheerleaders. You need commitment. You need consistency. You need a reason that matters to you. If the vision is real, you'll carry it through the noise and through the silence. If the vision is real, you won't need others to see it before you act on it. And if the vision is real, you'll protect it like it's your life because it is. Your dreams are real. Your effort matters. Your silence has value. Your time is building something, so stand strong, even when the room is empty, even when the messages stop, even when it seems like no one believes, because you do, and that's more than enough. Strength isn't proven when everyone says yes. Strength is proven when you keep moving through the no's. It's proven when you don't get the job but keep learning. It's proven when your plan fails but you adjust. It's proven when no one shows up but you still do the work. That's real belief. That's unshakable character. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to convince them. You don't need to beg for support. What you need is discipline. What you need is patience. What you need is faith in your future. There will come a time when everything makes sense, when every late night and early morning, every quiet hour, every ignored message and every overlooked effort will all add up. But until that day comes, you keep going, you stay grounded, you hold the line. Because standing alone today is the price for standing proud tomorrow. Believe in your vision even when no one claps for it. Trust in your path even when no one walks beside you. And most of all, stand strong. That's how greatness is built. Chapter 3. Speak powerful words that lift your own spirit. What you say to yourself every day shapes how you feel, how you act, and how you show up in life. The way you talk to yourself either lifts your energy or drains it. It either builds your strength or weakens your mindset. If you want to grow, if you want to improve, you have to pay attention to your words. You can't talk down to yourself and expect to rise. You can't keep repeating negative things in your mind and expect to move forward. The voice you listen to the most is your own. So it better be a voice that pushes you, not one that tears you down. Most people never stop and think about how much damage they're doing just by the way they speak to themselves. They wake up and say, "I'm tired. I'm not good enough. I'll probably fail. This won't work." And then they wonder why their day feels heavy, why nothing seems to go right. Your words are setting the tone before you even start. You are programming your mind with defeat before giving yourself a chance to succeed. And that has to stop. You have to start using words that bring you back to life. Words that make you feel grounded. Words that give you a reason to try again. It's not about pretending to be perfect. It's about reminding yourself that you're capable, that you're doing your best, that you're not done yet, that what you do today still matters. Your words should guide you through the hard moments, not pull you deeper into them. Speak like someone who wants to grow. Speak like someone who believes they have a future. Every time you say something negative about yourself, your brain starts looking for ways to prove it's true. If you keep saying, "I can't do this," your focus goes toward all your weaknesses. But if you say, "I'll find a way," your mind starts working toward solutions. It begins looking for answers. That shift in language changes everything. Your thoughts change. Your feelings change. Your actions change. It starts with one sentence. You're not weak for needing encouragement. You're not broken for feeling low. But you can't sit in that space and expect your life to get better. You have to be the one to lift yourself. You have to be the one to say, "I've got more in me." You don't have to scream it. You don't have to prove it to anyone else. Just say it to yourself. Say it with calm. Say it with truth. Say it when no one else is watching. That's where strength comes from. You already know how to talk yourself out of things. You've done it 100 times. Now learn to talk yourself into things. Tell yourself that you're going to try again. Tell yourself that today can be different. Tell yourself that mistakes don't define you. Tell yourself that progress is being made, even when it's not obvious. Speak with purpose. Speak like someone who refuses to stay stuck. There will be days when motivation doesn't show up. There will be mornings when your energy is low. That's when your words matter most. You can either stay in that place or speak your way out of it. Say, "I'm not quitting today." Say, "I've handled worse than this." Say, "This moment doesn't control me." And you'll notice something shift inside you. Not because you solved everything, but because you chose to fight with your words. Your language creates your atmosphere. What you repeat becomes what you expect. If you wake up saying, "This day's going to be a mess," you'll carry that energy into every task. But if you say, "I'll stay focused today," your body starts to respond. Your focus sharpens. Your emotions settle. You gain control over your direction. That's the real power of words. They give you emotional stability when life tries to shake you. You don't need fancy affirmations. You don't need to stand in front of a mirror and pretend everything is perfect. Just say what you need to hear. Speak to yourself like someone you care about. Speak with clarity. Speak with honesty. But don't speak like a critic. Speak like a coach. Speak like someone who knows they're still in the game. You can be honest without being harsh. You can push yourself without tearing yourself down. Nobody else knows the thoughts you carry. Nobody else hears the quiet battles in your mind. That's why your own voice matters more than anyone else's. People may encourage you. They may compliment you. But if your inner voice keeps rejecting it, it won't stick. You have to accept your own support. You have to say things that hold you together when life tries to pull you apart. Look at how you talk to yourself when you fail. Do you say, "I'm such a mess," or do you say, "I'll learn from this"? Do you say, "I knew I'd mess it up"? Or do you say, "This is just one setback, not the end"? That shift in language changes your direction. You don't spiral. You reset. You keep going. Some of you grew up hearing criticism more than encouragement. Some of you had parents or teachers who never believed in you, and those voices stuck around. You carry them with you now, but you don't have to keep repeating them. You can change the message. You can start speaking a different truth. A truth that builds. A truth that moves you forward. You can't heal in life if you keep using the same words that hurt you. You can't grow if your language keeps shrinking your confidence. You can't take risks if your voice keeps telling you to stay small. And you'll never know how far you can go until your words start matching your goals. Speak like the person you want to become. Speak from strength. Speak from vision. Speak from hope. If you don't believe something about yourself yet, don't lie. Work on it. Don't say, "I'm the best." If you don't believe it, say, "I'm learning every day." Say, "I'm getting stronger." Say, "I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be either." That's honest. That's real. That's the kind of language that builds belief slowly, day by day. Words have weight. The ones you use carry energy. They can either pull you down or push you forward. So use them wisely. Use them with purpose. Use them with kindness. Because you'll hear them more than anyone else will. Speak powerful words that lift your own spirit. Not because you're perfect, but because you're growing. Not because everything's easy, but because you've decided not to give up. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to find them. And when life gets heavy, when the pressure builds, when the motivation fades, go back to your words. That's where your power lives. That's where you'll find your way again. Chapter 4. Take action even when fear holds you back. Fear will never leave on its own. It doesn't disappear just because you wait. It doesn't fade away because you hope it will. Fear stays until you walk through it. It lives in hesitation. It feeds on delay. It grows when you keep overthinking. But the moment you take action, you weaken it. Every time you move forward while feeling afraid, you prove that fear doesn't get the final word. The truth is, most people let fear drive their choices. They adjust their dreams to fit their comfort zone. They shrink their goals to avoid pressure. But if you want to grow, if you want to change your life, you can't afford to do that anymore. You have to act, even when fear is in the room with you. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a test. It shows up the moment you try to do something different. And that's not a mistake. That's how you know you're doing something real. If fear never shows up, it probably means you're not reaching. You're not stretching. You're just repeating. And you can't live a bold life by repeating yesterday. Taking action while afraid is not weakness. It's strength. It's not about pretending you're fearless. It's about not letting fear control your next step. You don't need to wait until you're confident. You don't need to wait until you're certain. You need to move anyway. You need to decide that forward is the only direction you'll accept. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to make progress. Fear speaks loudest right before you grow. It fills your mind with questions. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What will people think? That voice wants to protect you, but it also keeps you stuck. You have to answer fear with action. You have to say, I'm doing it anyway. Because courage is built by movement, not by sitting still, not by waiting for the perfect moment, but by stepping forward when your heart is racing and your hands are shaking. Think about the last time you avoided something important because you felt nervous. Think about the time you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow. How many moments have passed you by because fear made you pause too long? That pattern doesn't break on its own. You have to break it by doing the very thing you're scared to do. Start the conversation. Make the phone call. Show up to the meeting. Apply for the job. Launch the project. Even if your voice shakes. Even if your stomach turns. Even if you doubt yourself halfway through. You don't overcome fear by avoiding it. You overcome it by walking straight into it. And with each step, it loses its hold. You don't need to be 10 steps ahead. You need to take the next one. The one right in front of you. That one choice can change your entire direction. But most people wait too long. They wait for a perfect plan. They wait until they feel completely ready. And in the meantime, fear keeps winning. You have to build the habit of acting through fear. The more you do it, the stronger you get. At first it feels unnatural. You'll feel like you're forcing yourself. That's normal. Growth always feels like effort in the beginning. But after a while, taking action becomes part of you. You stop running from discomfort. You stop waiting for things to feel easy. You begin to lead yourself. Every step forward gives you experience. Even if it doesn't work out perfectly, you learn something. You grow. You discover what works and what doesn't. And that feedback becomes your fuel. But you only get it by doing, by showing up, by getting in the game, not watching from the sidelines. That's where your confidence starts to form, not from hoping, but from trying. Fear will always have something to say. It will always offer reasons to wait. But you don't need more reasons. You need more action. You need to prove to yourself that you're not controlled by hesitation, that you're stronger than your worst-case scenario, that you're willing to build your life brick by brick, even if fear is whispering while you work. Sometimes you'll take a step, and it won't go the way you hoped. That's okay. That doesn't mean you stop. That doesn't mean you give up. It means you adjust. You try again. You collect the lesson. You apply it. And then you keep moving. That's what action looks like in real life. Not perfection, but effort. Not having all the answers, but refusing to sit still. You have to reach the point where you care more about your future than you do about your fear. You have to say, this dream is worth it. You have to ask yourself, what will it cost me if I never try? Because the pain of regret is heavier than the weight of fear. At least with fear you can still move. You can still rise. But regret holds no opportunity. It only leaves questions. If you want to live with freedom, if you want to live with clarity, you have to take action even while fear is present. Don't wait for the fear to fade. Act through it. Get in the habit of doing hard things without needing to feel fully ready. That's how people grow. That's how they win. Not because they had no fear, but because they kept going anyway. You were not made to stay stuck. You were not made to live in hesitation. You were built to move. You were built to build. You were built to handle the tension of fear and still take the next step. You have more in you than you think, but you won't see it until you move. You won't feel it until you try. You won't access it until you take the risk.
If the voice in your head is full of doubt, don't argue with it. Outwork it. Do the work anyway. Show up anyway. That voice gets quieter when you start taking action, when you take control, when you remind yourself, I'm not staying here. That's how strength is built. One action at a time, one decision at a time, not by accident, but by choice. And don't wait for someone else to push you. You have to push yourself. You have to lead yourself out of fear. No one's coming to do it for you. This is your life. This is your time. And every day you wait is a day you could have moved forward. So move now. Do something now. Don't aim for huge leaps. Aim for forward motion. Even a small step in the right direction holds power. Even if it doesn't look like much on the outside, it changes something on the inside. You start to believe again. You start to trust yourself. You start to see that fear isn't a wall. It's just a moment. And like every moment it passes. But only if you move through it. This is where your power lives. In your decision to act while afraid. In your choice to show up when it's hard. In your ability to face discomfort and say, I'll do it anyway. That's not weakness. That's not pretending. That's the highest form of discipline. That's what separates those who rise from those who stay stuck. So if you're scared right now, that's okay. That means you're about to grow. That means you're on the edge of something new. But don't step back. Take the step forward. Take the risk. Make the move. Not when fear is gone, but because your purpose is greater than your fear. That's what it takes. That's how your life changes. One decision at a time. One brave action at a time. Even when fear holds you back, move anyway. That's where your breakthrough begins.
Chapter 5. Push through doubt and keep showing up daily. Doubt shows up when you're trying to grow. It doesn't come around when you're doing nothing. It waits until you try something new, something difficult, something important. It waits until you care, and then it starts whispering. It tells you you're not good enough. It reminds you of every mistake you've made. It makes you question your timing, your skills, your potential. Doubt doesn't yell. It sneaks in. It makes you hesitate. It slows your steps, and if you listen to it long enough, it convinces you to stop altogether. The truth is, everyone feels doubt. Every person who's ever done something meaningful has questioned themselves. They've had moments where they didn't know if they were good enough. They've had days where the goal felt too far away, the path too uncertain. But the difference between those who grow and those who quit is not the presence of doubt, it's what they do with it. The ones who grow push through it. They don't let it dictate their effort. They don't let it write their story. They keep showing up, even when their mind is full of questions. There will be days when nothing makes sense. Days when the results don't match the work you're putting in. Days when progress feels invisible. That's when doubt tries to take over. It'll say, what's the point? It'll say, you're wasting your time. It'll say, this isn't working. And it'll feel real. It'll feel loud. But feelings don't always tell the truth. Doubt isn't proof of failure. It's a sign that you're in the middle of change. That you're doing something that matters. And anything that matters takes time. You don't beat doubt by waiting for confidence. You beat it by building consistency. You show up whether you feel ready or not. You keep doing the work whether you feel motivated or not. That's how strength is developed. Not in bursts of excitement, but in steady effort when things feel uncertain. You don't need to feel 100% every day. You just need to keep going. Some days you'll move fast. Some days it'll be slow. But movement is what matters. You keep putting one foot in front of the other.
You keep choosing your goal over your fear. You keep showing up for yourself, even when the energy isn't there. That's what separates people who make progress from those who only talk about it. Showing up builds trust with yourself. And once you trust yourself, doubt loses its power. Your habits are stronger than your emotions. On the days when you don't feel like doing it, that's when you need your routine the most. That's when you lean on structure. You don't ask how you feel. You remind yourself what needs to be done. Doubt grows in silence and hesitation, but it fades when you get moving. The action brings clarity. The repetition builds confidence. But you don't see any of that. If you keep quitting, you won't always see results right away. Sometimes you'll feel like nothing's changing. But every time you show up, you're building something. You're proving to yourself that you won't give up just because it's hard. You're building mental toughness. You're developing discipline. And those are the tools that carry you through seasons of doubt. Don't expect people to understand your path. Most people give up when things get tough. Most people slow down when the excitement wears off. That's why so few ever get what they truly want. They listen to doubt more than they listen to their goals. They give more energy to their fear than to their purpose. Don't let that be you. Make a decision that you're going to stay in the game, even when it gets boring, even when it gets heavy, even when it feels like it's not working. You have to stop relying on the feeling of progress and focus on the act of progress. You might not feel different every day, but you are changing. You are getting better. You are learning. You are becoming stronger just by not quitting. You are building something solid. You don't see it because you're too close to it, but it's happening. Your effort is building a new future for you brick by brick. Don't walk away before it's complete. Doubt also grows when you compare your journey to someone else's. You look at how fast others are moving. You look at their success, their highlights, their wins, and you start to feel small. You start to wonder if you're behind. But comparison distorts progress. It makes you forget how far you've come. It makes you ignore your growth. The only comparison that matters is who you were yesterday. Are you more focused today? Are you more disciplined today? Are you showing up with more clarity than you did last month? That's what matters. It's easy to show up when things are going well, when the plan works, when the numbers rise. But the real test is when nothing looks different, when the scale doesn't move, when the feedback is quiet, when the effort feels unnoticed. That's where character is built. That's where most people walk away. But you're not most people. You're still standing. You're still fighting. You're still here. Even on the days when doubt feels loud, your actions speak louder. Even when your mind questions you, your effort confirms your direction. That's how you win. You win by showing up on the days you used to quit. You win by giving yourself no way out. You win by sticking to your plan when doubt tries to distract you. You keep your word. You stay the course. That's what builds a foundation that lasts. Start each day with one simple goal. Show up. Show up to your task. Show up to your discipline. Show up to your life. Don't expect perfection. Don't demand perfection. Just keep moving. Keep learning. Keep adjusting. You will stumble. You will fall. That's part of it. But as long as you keep getting up, you're growing. As long as you keep showing up, you're becoming someone new. Some people think they need motivation every day. That's not realistic. What you need is a standard, a commitment, something inside you that says, I keep going, no matter how I feel, no matter how it looks. I keep showing up, Because I said I would. Because I know where I'm going. Because I'm not done yet. That mindset builds real progress. And over time it becomes part of you. Doubt will still show up sometimes. But when it does, it won't shake you. Because you've already proven to yourself that you can keep going. You've already lived through the hard days. You've already done the work when you didn't feel ready. That becomes your evidence. That becomes your story. And that becomes your strength. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to stay consistent. You just need to keep showing up. That's how doubt is defeated. That's how belief is built. That's how growth becomes real. You keep pushing forward. You keep showing up daily. Even when doubt follows you, you move anyway. That's the path to becoming who you were meant to be.
Chapter 6. Trust your journey no matter how slow it feels. Progress doesn't always feel exciting. Growth isn't always visible. Some days feel slow. Some weeks feel empty. You put in the work, you do what you're supposed to, and nothing seems to change. That's where most people start to doubt. That's where they begin to question if their effort is worth it. But this is the truth. Just because progress isn't loud doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because it's taking time doesn't mean you're failing. Not every step will feel like a breakthrough. Some steps feel small, quiet, unnoticed, but they still count. They still matter. They still move you forward. The journey to something real is never fast. It's not supposed to be. Real progress takes time. It takes patience. It takes discipline. Anyone can start fast, but finishing strong requires a different kind of focus, a different kind of faith. You have to believe in what you're building, even when it doesn't show up on the outside yet. You have to keep your energy directed toward the process, not just the result, because the process is where you're changed. That's where your mindset is shaped. That's where habits are built. That's where strength is formed. Most people fall off not because they're incapable, but because they get discouraged. They let the slow days convince them that their path isn't working. They let the silence make them forget how far they've already come. They start comparing their speed to others. And the more they compare, the more frustrated they get. But comparison is a distraction. Everyone moves at a different pace. Everyone starts with a different story. And your timeline doesn't need to match anyone else's. This is your life. Your pace. Your journey. You don't need to rush it to prove anything. When it feels slow, that's the time to stay grounded. That's when you double down on your habits. That's when you remind yourself of your reasons. That's when you stop chasing speed and start valuing direction. You don't need things to move fast. You need them to move forward. You need each step to count. You need your actions to align with where you're going. That's how you build something that lasts. Sometimes the most important progress happens internally. Your mindset shifts. Your discipline tightens. Your emotional control improves. And none of that can be measured by a number or a finish line. But it matters more than you know, because who you become along the journey matters more than what you reach at the end. If you reach your goal without growth, you won't be able to keep it. But if you become stronger along the way, it'll stay with you. That's why trusting the journey is not about waiting. It's about working with patience. It's about knowing that every single effort adds to the foundation, even if the structure hasn't shown up yet. If you're doing the work and staying consistent, you're winning. Even if nobody notices. Even if no one celebrates you. Even if you feel like the results are taking forever. Trust doesn't come from outside validation. It comes from personal alignment. You know you're doing what you said you would. You know you're not giving up.
You know you're becoming better, day by day, even if others don't see it. You have to stop looking for fast results. They don't last, quick wins fade fast. But the kind of change that changes your life takes time. You can't speed up your growth by forcing it. You can't skip steps just because it's uncomfortable. You have to live through the stages. You have to walk through the days that feel stuck. Because every slow day teaches you something. It sharpens your focus. It humbles your ego. It teaches you to be disciplined when motivation is gone. You don't become mentally strong by avoiding difficulty. You become strong by staying in it. By continuing the work without needing to feel excited. That's what most people miss. They think something is wrong when progress feels slow. But that's part of the design. That's how mastery is built. That's how real success is created. Not from speed, but from consistency. Keep showing up. Keep trusting your direction. Even when it feels like nothing is moving. You are. You're growing in ways that don't show up in the mirror. You're getting better at making decisions. You're getting better at managing your time. You're becoming more focused, more stable, more reliable. That's progress. That's success in motion. You won't always see the change immediately, but the work is doing something deep within you. Look at where you were a year ago, not just in outcomes but in mindset, in discipline, in habits. If you're improving there, you're on the right track. And if you're still in the game, still pushing, still working, that alone is a win. You didn't quit. You didn't fold when it got boring. You didn't walk away because the rewards weren't instant. That says everything. The world is full of people who start, fewer finish, and even fewer stay committed when it's not exciting. Be the one who keeps going when others get distracted. Be the one who keeps their eyes on the goal when things slow down. Be the one who says, this pace is enough, as long as I'm still moving. It's okay to want more. It's okay to push harder, but don't let the desire for speed ruin your process. Don't let impatience steal your focus. You're not just building results. You're building resilience. You're building habits that will stay with you for the rest of your life, and those don't happen overnight. They happen in the quiet days, the unseen days, the days when it feels like you're walking uphill with no end in sight. Those are the days that matter most. You don't need permission to keep going. You don't need proof that it's working every single week. What you need is to keep your word, to stay committed, to stop second-guessing every step, to stop tearing yourself down because it's taking longer than you thought. Your path doesn't need to impress anyone. It just needs to be real. It needs to be yours. Every time you trust your journey, you build mental strength. You remind yourself that you're not just chasing something, you're becoming someone. Someone who doesn't quit when it's slow. Someone who doesn't fold under pressure. Someone who doesn't need outside validation to stay committed. That's the kind of person who makes real change. That's the kind of person who creates a life they're proud of. So don't rush it. Don't resent the process. Don't keep checking the clock hoping for shortcuts. Keep building. Keep showing up. Keep trusting that what you're doing matters, even when it doesn't feel fast. Because the truth is, slow growth is real growth. And real growth changes you from the inside out. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not failing. You're developing. You're learning how to stay focused when others drift. You're learning how to stay steady when the world is rushing. And that puts you ahead. Far ahead. The ones who move with patience win in the long run. The ones who stay grounded build something that doesn't fall apart under pressure. This is your time, your story, your mission, and it doesn't need to be rushed. It just needs to be respected. So stay in it, even if it's slow, especially when it's slow, because slow is where the strong are made, and you're stronger than you think.
Chapter 7. Block out voices that make you feel small. There are voices that lift you and voices that limit you. If you want to grow, you must learn to tell the difference. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every comment needs your energy. Some voices exist only to shrink your potential. They don't challenge you to grow. They pressure you to stay small. And the more you listen, the more you start to question yourself. You start playing it safe. You begin second-guessing your decisions. You shrink your goals to match someone else's fear. But here's the truth. Your life isn't meant to fit into someone else's comfort zone. People will speak from their own experiences, their own pain, their own limitations. They'll tell you what's not possible because they never did it. They'll say your dream is too big because they never had the courage to chase their own. And if you're not careful, you'll take on their doubt as your truth. You'll begin carrying their fear like it's your responsibility. That's when growth stops. Not because you can't do it, but because you've started to believe them more than you believe in yourself. You don't need permission to improve. You don't need approval to keep going. What you need is clarity. You need to know who you are and what you're building. And once you have that, protect it. You don't have to explain your vision to everyone. You don't have to defend your goals to people who only want to tear them down. Not everyone will understand your path. Not everyone is supposed to. But that doesn't make it any less real. Some voices will always try to bring you back to who you used to be. They'll remind you of your past. They'll bring up your mistakes. They'll question your growth. That's not support. That's control. And you don't owe anyone your future just because they knew your past. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to rise. You're allowed to want more. You have to get clear on who is speaking into your life. Who are you giving access to your thoughts? Who do you allow to influence your choices? If someone constantly makes you feel like you're not enough, that's a sign. If they downplay your effort, dismiss your goals, or laugh at your discipline, that's a sign. Don't ignore it. Don't explain it away. Start creating space. Start drawing lines. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to argue. You just need to protect your energy. Protect your goals. Protect your belief. Because belief is fragile when it's new. When you're rebuilding yourself. When you're trying to make a change, you're vulnerable. And one wrong voice can shake everything. That's why you need to stay intentional about who you listen to. Find voices that push you to be better. Surround yourself with people who speak life into your vision. People who don't laugh at your effort, but respect your commitment. And if you don't have those people around you yet, be that person for yourself. Speak to yourself with respect. Speak to yourself with belief. Stop repeating the criticism that was thrown at you. Just because someone said it doesn't make it true. Just because they didn't believe in you doesn't mean you're not capable. Sometimes the most dangerous voice isn't even outside. It's the one you adopted after hearing others for so long. You have to break that pattern. You have to start feeding your mind with the right messages. Read things that grow your mind. Listen to people who walk the talk. Pay attention to how you feel after a conversation. Do you feel inspired? Do you feel focused? Or do you feel smaller, less confident? That's your answer. Your environment matters. If you spend your time around people who don't dream, you'll stop dreaming. If you keep sharing your goals with people who mock ambition, you'll start questioning your drive.
And if you keep tolerating voices that tear you down, you'll eventually forget how to stand tall. You don't need a crowd to believe in you. You don't need everyone to clap. But you do need to silence the wrong noise. And that silence starts with you choosing what stays and what goes. Not every call needs to be answered. Not every message needs to be read. Not every opinion needs to be absorbed. That's how you build mental freedom, by being selective with what enters your mind. Growth requires peace. Peace to think clearly. Peace to plan. Peace to act with strength. And peace can't exist where there's constant noise telling you you're not good enough. So block it out. Block it without guilt. Without apology. Without explanation. That's not being cold. That's being committed. That's what personal discipline looks like. You have to make a choice. Either you protect your energy, or you let others drain it. Either you defend your vision, or you let it fade under pressure. Either you build belief, or you absorb doubt. That choice shows up every day. In the people you speak to, in the content you consume, in the thoughts you accept. So be intentional, be clear, be honest with yourself. If something consistently makes you feel heavy, makes you doubt yourself, makes you hesitate, that's not helping you grow. Growth comes with challenge, yes, but not with constant disrespect, not with repeated belittling. There's a difference between feedback and sabotage. Learn to tell the difference, because one helps you improve. The other keeps you stuck. You are not small. You are not weak. You are not a mistake. But you can't expect to feel powerful if you keep feeding yourself powerless words. You can't rise while holding on to voices that want you to stay where you are. It's time to take control of your space. Not just physically but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's your responsibility. This is your season to build strength, to build focus, to build discipline, and for that you need the right inputs. You need truth. You need encouragement. You need clarity. You need challenge that pushes you, not criticism that poisons you. The more you protect your mindset, the faster you'll grow, the clearer your direction becomes, and the less room you'll have for noise that tries to keep you small. Remember, some people won't like your growth. They won't like your focus. They won't like your progress, because it reminds them of everything they're avoiding. Don't let that slow you down. Don't lower your energy to match their comfort. Stay committed. Stay grounded. And keep building. You owe it to yourself to become who you were meant to be. But you can't do that while carrying voices that make you question your worth. So let them go. Let the noise fade. Let your own voice rise above it. A voice that speaks with clarity. A voice that builds. A voice that believes. That's how you move forward. That's how you grow without limits. That's how you build a life rooted in confidence, not controlled by opinions. You block out every voice that makes you feel small, and you rise. Every single day. One choice at a time.
Chapter 8. Prove to yourself that you are not broken. You don't need to fix what isn't broken, and you are not broken. You may be tired. You may be discouraged. You may have gone through things that hurt you deeply, but none of that makes you damaged. What you are is human. What you've lived through does not define you. What you've lost does not erase your value. What you've failed at does not take away your ability to succeed again. You are still capable. You are still worthy, but you must prove that to yourself, not by saying it, but by living like it's true. The world may have told you otherwise. You may have heard people say you're not good enough, not strong enough, not ready. Some of those voices came from people you trusted. That makes it worse. It cuts deeper.
But the fact that someone said, it doesn't make it real. What makes it real is if you keep believing it. The people who said you were broken don't get to write the rest of your story. That's your job now. You prove to yourself you're not broken by getting back up when life pushes you down. You show yourself you're not broken by continuing to try when the odds feel against you. You act like someone who is still in the game, not because everything is perfect, but because you've decided that setbacks don't get the last word. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to refuse to give in to the fear. You don't need to be healed to take the first step. You don't need to have it all together to keep moving. There's a part of you that already knows this, a part of you that wants to move forward, a part that still believes there's more ahead. That voice inside you, listen to it, give it more space than the voice of doubt. That voice has kept you going all this time. That's your real self, the one that's not broken, the one that's still fighting, the one that shows up even with scars. You've been through moments that could have made you quit, but you're still here. That alone proves strength. That alone proves resilience. But you won't feel that power until you start showing it to yourself through your actions. Talk less about what went wrong and focus more on what you're building. Stop telling yourself you're behind. Start reminding yourself that healing is not a race. Growth is not about being ahead. It's about staying in it. You don't rebuild your life by erasing your past. You rebuild by using your experience as proof that you can keep going. Every disappointment, every letdown, every painful moment has taught you something, even if it wasn't fair, even if you didn't deserve it. You still learned, you still grew, you still made it through. That's not weakness. That's strength in its purest form. So how do you prove to yourself that you're not broken? You take action. You take responsibility. You stop waiting for the perfect day to begin. You stop hiding behind excuses. You stop telling the same story of failure, and you start writing something new. You wake up and move with purpose. You give your time to things that build you. You start speaking with more honesty and less shame. You choose growth, even when it's uncomfortable. You start small if you have to, but you start, and you keep showing up. You don't ask the world for confirmation. You confirm it to yourself every day, by doing the work. Not once, not for a week, but over and over. That consistency changes something in you. It creates proof. It shows your mind that you are capable of stability, of effort, of success. It removes the doubt, not by shouting it down, but by slowly replacing it with evidence. Your value doesn't drop just because you feel lost. Your potential doesn't disappear just because things have been difficult. You're allowed to have hard seasons, but don't let those seasons become your identity. Don't keep telling yourself you're broken just because something broke you for a moment. You can heal. You can rebuild. You can start again. Not from scratch, but from experience. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about refusing to stay in the mindset that says you're finished. You're not done. You're not defined by what hurt you. You are bigger than your lowest point. And deep down you know that. You know you're made for more. You've always known it. But somewhere along the way, pain convinced you otherwise. And now it's time to take that belief back. Not with empty words, but with choices, with real commitment, with daily action, with new habits, with bold decisions. That's how you prove to yourself what's still possible. That's how you reclaim your confidence. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop hoping that someone else will fix it. You step up and start building from where you are, as you are, with everything you've got. And when the doubt shows up, and it will, you don't run from it. You meet it head on. You remind yourself of what you've already survived. You remind yourself of the strength you had when no one else noticed. You remind yourself of all the days you wanted to quit, but didn't. That's the evidence you need. That's the reminder that you're not broken. You're alive. And if you're alive, you still have the power to rise. You might not be where you want to be yet. That's okay. What matters is that you don't give up trying. What matters is that you don't stay down. You can fall and still rise. You can fail and still grow. You can hurt and still heal. But none of that happens if you believe you're too broken to continue. That belief is what holds people back. Not the failure itself. You're not a failure. You're not a mistake. You're a person in progress. And every single day is a chance to prove to yourself that progress is still possible. That you still have more to give. That your best days haven't passed. They're ahead. But you only get there if you start acting like your life still matters. Like your actions still count. Like your goals still deserve your full effort. You've seen darkness. You've felt pain. But you're still breathing. And that breath means there's more to do. More to learn. More to create. More to experience. You're not stuck unless you choose to be. You're not finished unless you decide to quit. You have more inside you than you've shown. But you won't see it until you start demanding more from yourself. Don't let the past be your anchor. Let it be your starting point. Let it be the place where you say, "That was the moment I chose to rise." Let it be the moment you said, "I'm not living like this anymore." You don't need anyone else to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. Not someday. Now. Not when things feel easy. Now. Not when you feel fully ready. Now. Because proving to yourself that you're not broken isn't about fixing everything. It's about refusing to stay silent. Refusing to live small. Refusing to settle for less than what you know you can become. It's about showing up for yourself when it's quiet, when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable. It's about becoming your own evidence. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about intention. It's about progress. Every single step counts. Every single decision builds or breaks you. Choose the ones that build. Choose the ones that bring you closer. Choose the ones that remind you. You're not broken. You're rebuilding. You're growing. You're rising. You're proving to yourself every single day that your life still matters. And you're not finished yet.
Chapter 9. Create habits that make you feel more confident. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you build through your daily habits. You don't wake up feeling confident. You become confident by doing things that strengthen your mindset, improve your discipline, and sharpen your focus. If you want to feel better about yourself, if you want to walk into each day with more certainty, you need to start creating habits that support that. Because your habits shape your identity. They send a message to your brain about who you are and what you expect from yourself. You can't expect confidence to grow while you repeat actions that make you doubt yourself. Confidence doesn't start in public. It starts in private. It starts in how you wake up, how you spend your time, how you speak to yourself, and how you follow through. Every habit is a small choice, and each choice either builds you or breaks you. If your daily habits are full of distractions, delay, and excuses, then no matter how much you want to feel confident, it won't stick. But if you wake up and take care of what needs to be done, if you keep promises to yourself, if you focus on small wins daily, confidence begins to rise without you needing to force it. One of the most powerful ways to build confidence is to become someone you can count on.
That means doing what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it. If you say you're going to work on your goals, and you actually do it, you feel solid. You feel reliable. You begin to trust yourself again. But if you constantly say one thing and do another, it creates doubt. That doubt builds up over time. It eats away at your belief. And slowly you lose confidence, not because you're not good enough, but because your actions keep proving otherwise. Start with simple things. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to do a few things consistently. Wake up at the same time. Move your body every day. Limit time-wasting habits. Learn something new every morning. Write down your goals every night. These habits may seem small, but they carry weight. They create a rhythm. They help you take control of your time. And when you control your time, you begin to control your mindset. Another key habit that builds confidence is preparation. Most people feel anxious because they're always behind. They rush into things. They delay important work until the last minute. That creates panic. That creates stress. And it kills confidence. But when you prepare ahead of time, when you take care of your responsibilities early, you create space. You create mental clarity. You walk into your day with a sense of calm. You feel in control. That feeling builds belief. You also need to create habits around how you speak to yourself. Confidence isn't just about what you do, it's about what you say to yourself while doing it. If your internal dialogue is full of judgment, sarcasm, or self-hate, it doesn't matter how successful you are on the outside. You'll never feel good enough. But if you make it a habit to speak with clarity and encouragement, even in your mistakes, you'll begin to shift. It won't happen in a day, but over time, those new words will become your default. They'll become your inner coach, not your critic. Confidence also grows when you take ownership of your life. Blame keeps people stuck. When you blame others for how you feel, you give away your power. But when you create the habit of looking inward, of asking, "What can I do better?" you take control again. You shift from reaction to responsibility. That habit alone changes your entire mindset. It puts you in the driver's seat of your own life. And when you're in control, confidence follows. Track your progress. It's not enough to do the work, you need to recognize that you're doing it. Keep a journal. Write down your wins, your challenges, your lessons. Look back every week. See what's changing. This habit keeps your mind focused on growth. It shows you that your effort is leading somewhere. When you see your own progress in writing, it becomes real. It becomes undeniable. That proof builds belief. And belief is the fuel of confidence. Limit the habits that break you down. Pay attention to how you spend your time. If you constantly scroll through social media, comparing your life to others, that's not a neutral habit, that's damaging. If you surround yourself with negative people, even for a few minutes a day, that input affects your output. Clean your environment. Choose what you feed your mind. The cleaner your inputs, the clearer your mind. And a clear mind is where confidence starts. Discipline is another habit that rewires your confidence. When you do what's right over what's easy, you begin to respect yourself. You don't need praise. You don't need rewards. You need self-respect. And discipline builds that. When you push through resistance and follow through anyway, you prove that you have standards. That you don't fold under pressure. That you hold yourself to a higher level. That strength becomes your identity. Face challenges directly. Don't avoid hard things. Don't run from discomfort. Instead, make it a habit to walk into difficulty with your full attention. Every time you do something that scares you, something that stretches you, something that makes you uncomfortable, your confidence grows. Not because you got it perfect, but because you showed up. Courage is the seed of confidence. And courage is built by facing hard things, not by avoiding them. Keep your focus on progress, not perfection. Build the habit of improvement, not performance. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be better than you were last week. Confidence isn't about proving something to others. It's about proving to yourself that you're growing, that you're learning, that you're willing to keep moving, no matter how long it takes. Rest with purpose. Confidence is not just about how hard you push, it's also about how well you recover. Burnout kills belief. Exhaustion makes you question your worth. Build rest into your system. Make it intentional. Use it to reset. Use it to recharge. Use it to reflect. When you take care of yourself, you protect your momentum. You show yourself that you matter, not just as a worker, but as a person. Confidence is not a gift. It's not something you're born with. It's something you create by how you live. Every choice matters. Every small decision adds up. And over time, those decisions shape who you are. If you want to feel strong, act strong. If you want to feel capable, build habits that show you you're capable. You don't need to convince anyone else. You need to convince yourself. There will still be days when you don't feel at your best. That's normal. But when you've built the right habits, those days don't define you. You fall back on structure. You fall back on discipline. You don't spiral. You reset. And that's what real confidence looks like. Not fake motivation, but solid structure. A life built on habits that reinforce your identity. Habits that remind you every day that you're moving forward, that you're becoming someone strong, someone focused, someone capable of handling life as it comes. So build your system, make it personal, make it real, and stay consistent. Confidence doesn't arrive all at once. It's built, choice by choice, one honest habit at a time.
Chapter 10. Decide every day that you will not quit. Every single day, you are given a choice. You can continue, or you can quit. That decision may seem small, but it shapes everything about your life. It defines your mindset. It impacts your actions. It determines the outcome of your future. When you wake up and choose not to quit, even when nothing feels easy, even when no one sees your effort, even when you're tired and discouraged, that's where real change begins. That's the moment strength is created, not through motivation, but through commitment. You don't have to feel ready to decide not to quit. You don't need to be excited. You don't need perfect conditions. All you need is one honest decision that no matter what happens today, you're staying in the game. That one decision will give you more power than any quote, any video, or any praise, because it's yours. It belongs to you. No one gave it to you. You chose it. And when you choose something, it becomes part of who you are. There will be days when things don't make sense. When you put in the work and see no results. When everything feels heavy and progress feels impossible. But those days are not the enemy. Those days are where you earn your future. Quitting is easy when life is hard, but easy choices lead to hard lives. The ones who build something meaningful are the ones who show up when everything inside them says stop. They don't keep going because it's easy. They keep going because they've made the decision in advance that they're not going to give up. You won't always feel strong. You won't always feel inspired. And that's okay.
You're not supposed to. You're not a machine. But feelings are not facts. Just because something feels difficult doesn't mean it's not working. Just because you don't feel progress doesn't mean you're not growing. That's why you need to anchor yourself to a daily decision before the doubt kicks in, before the fear shows up, before the excuses start forming. Decide that quitting is off the table. You don't have to commit to 10 years today. You don't have to figure everything out right now. Just win the day in front of you. Just take the next step. Just show up for this moment. And if tomorrow feels heavy again, you make the same decision. You remind yourself that quitting solves nothing. That quitting won't bring you peace. That quitting won't take you closer to the life you want. That daily decision becomes a practice. And that practice builds mental toughness. You build consistency through choice, not chance. You don't accidentally keep going. You do it on purpose. You do it by setting the standard in your life. You make it clear to yourself that showing up is not optional. That effort is non-negotiable. That your future matters too much to walk away from it just because today feels hard. And the more you repeat that choice, the easier it becomes to follow through. Not because the path is easier, but because you've become stronger. Every time you don't quit, you build proof. That proof stacks up. It becomes evidence, and your mind starts to believe, not because of what you say, but because of what you do. You become someone who finishes, someone who follows through, someone who doesn't run when it's tough. That identity starts to replace the old one, the one that used to make excuses, the one that used to delay, the one that used to quit. That version fades as the new one takes over, through repetition, through effort, through daily choices. You don't need massive wins to keep going. You need to find meaning in the discipline itself, in knowing that you're building something real, even when it's slow. You need to remember that quitting is not an option, because you've already tried that. And it didn't bring you progress. It didn't bring you peace. It brought regret, and regret weighs more than effort. So you keep going. You keep showing up. You keep doing the work. You're not in competition with anyone else. This is about who you were yesterday. This is about proving to yourself that you can stay focused, stay grounded, and stay committed. You don't need outside approval. You don't need someone cheering you on. You just need to respect your decision enough to keep living it. You can't rely on motivation. You have to rely on your standard. When you choose not to quit, you remove the pressure to be perfect. You stop obsessing over how fast things are moving. You stop overthinking every mistake. Because the only thing that matters is that you're still moving, that you're still in it, that your head is still up and your feet are still moving. That kind of momentum changes everything, not instantly but consistently. Some days will break you down emotionally. That's part of the journey. You'll feel misunderstood. You'll feel behind. You'll question everything. But on those days you come back to one simple truth. You're still here. You're still fighting. You're still building. And that is more than enough. You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the strongest. You just have to be the one who refuses to stop. That's the real victory. The ability to keep going when it's not fun, when it's not easy, when it's not obvious. The ability to wake up and choose discipline over comfort, purpose over distraction, growth over convenience. You can build that decision into your life like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Don't wait for your circumstances to become easier. Don't expect your path to clear itself. Decide anyway. Act anyway. Stay focused anyway. Because your growth doesn't depend on comfort. It depends on consistency. You already know what happens when you give up. Now it's time to find out what happens when you don't. This is your life. You only get one. You don't have time to keep starting over. You don't have time to keep quitting when things get uncomfortable. You don't need more chances. You need more commitment. You need to stay locked in. You need to remind yourself every single day why this matters. Why your vision matters. Why your life deserves your full effort. And on the days when it feels like it's too much, remind yourself that this season won't last forever. That pain passes. That pressure builds strength. That progress compounds. If you keep showing up, something will change. Something will move. Something will break through. But you'll only get there if you decide again today. No quitting. This is what it means to be relentless. This is what it means to build character. To build a life that doesn't fold under stress. A life that's rooted in principles, not just passion. A life that keeps moving forward, one hard day at a time. No matter how slow, no matter how heavy, no matter how unclear. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. But you do have to stay in it. You do have to refuse to quit. You do have to protect your vision with everything you've got. Because if you don't, no one else will. If you don't decide, someone else will decide for you. And that's not the life you want. So every morning make the choice. Every night, recommit. And every time fear, fatigue or frustration shows up, remind yourself, this is part of it. This is the price of becoming who you're meant to be. Decide again, move again, show up again, and keep doing it until quitting is no longer a question in your mind. That's how you win. That's how you build something that lasts. That's how you change everything. One decision at a time, every single day. No quitting.